Hello, welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Carl. Did you know that you can actually get these mugs? I really like them. I like enamelware. Number one, it's old school. But number two, you can't break them. I mean, you could probably really if you wanted to, but if you drop it, it's going to be fine, which is why they're great for going places, traveling, and keeping by the campfire or whatever. They're just the perfect rugged kind of mug. And if you want to get this one, I think there's a link below. But anyway, these are actually fulfilled by Exclusive, which is a great company. They've been wonderful to work with, and you can get one of them. The only thing I will say about enamel versus ceramic is that it doesn't hold the heat as well. You know, so it's a much thinner wall cup. So when you hold it like this, if it's really, really hot, you'll feel it on your fingers. So oftentimes it's best to hold it by the handle. But, you know, if you like that old school kind of vibe, then that's what that's all about right there. I like them a lot, and they're also great to travel with because you can just throw it in. I'll wad up some new socks, not old socks, otherwise your coffee's gonna taste really weird. Put them in there, throw this in your carry-on. Then you always at least have a mug, and you have to drink out of one of those paper things or those like, what the heck is that cup that's made out of what feels like styrofoam, but it's all fluffy. You know what I mean? It's like a paper cup, but on the outside they have that stuff, and it just feels like plastic fur, or it's gross. I don't like it. I'd rather have one of these. Anyway, they're cheap enough if you want to grab one. Here we are, though, episode 40. And I'm going to stop right there because I always just say, wow, can you believe it's been, you know, whatever. We're at 40. I'm not going to say anything else until we get to 50. And then I'll go, wow, can you believe it? And you may notice that I am wearing something a little bit different than I normally wear. And this is the Field Leathers collaboration jacket that I just got in, and I'm enamored with. It's better than I had thought. And here's the thing with Greg Field, and one of the reasons that I wanted to work with him, and that I've worked with him in the past and will continue to work with him, is that he's so meticulous about everything that you can guarantee that when you pitch an idea to him, he will do it better than anybody else could, and what you'll get back is something really, really special. For example, he reset himself on these pockets. So a Type 2 has symmetrical pockets, one on either side. The Type 2 Levi's, they only made for 9 years. And that's kind of why I like it. It's a little bit rare, and, you know, everybody knows the Type 3, of course. The Type 1 was a boxy, single pocket. It originally was referred to as a blouse. And the Type 2 fit in there somewhere. And in my opinion, they nailed it, right? It was symmetrical. They made it a little less boxy, a little bit longer. It was perfect. And then the Type 3 came along and kind of stole everybody's heart. But the Type 2 always has a place in mind. Anyway, with those symmetrical pockets, he started over from scratch 4 different times to get the look that he wanted. And if I know it's hard to see right here, maybe I'll put in some B-roll or something, but basically they come down to a slight point, like an acorn, but it's not too much. And sometimes you see brands that will do embellishments on their pockets where they almost, to me, look a little bit goofy, right? Like, I don't want mine to stand out so much that somebody says, you know, here comes that jacket, and it's wearing Carl, you know? That's just not my intent. So I'm not a big fan of two-tone jackets or anything like that, but I do like subtle touches that are special, and this jacket is full of them. Number one, the absolute laser straight stitching, and that's what I mean. Like, the stuff that he does is so perfect. And when it's something like a jacket, and you can compare things like this, okay? Like where the cuffs are, they are absolutely symmetrical. I remember seeing somebody at Arrow. This is back when Greg did work at Arrow, and when they were talking about how if you could request somebody to make your jacket, you would request that Greg made your jacket when he worked at Arrow because of this. And somebody pointed out the points of his collar on his leather jacket, where the stitching came down to the point wasn't the same. So when he had it zipped up, you could really tell because those 2 points were next to each other. And whereas Greg is, I mean, it is a perfect copy from left to right. And that's just a small example of the stuff that he does. A few of the other things that were challenging on this particular jacket were the pleats here in the front. Now, originally, these were actually designed with the Type 2 Levi's to be, you could actually pop open that stitch and give yourself a little bit of extra room in maybe the chest or in the gut or both or whatever you needed. If you need a little more volume, they basically built it into the jacket by folding that fabric over and allowing you, I don't know, maybe 2-3 inches of expansion there, which is pretty cool. I've never actually seen anybody do that, but I'll bet you if you look for old photos, you could probably find somebody who has done that with their jacket, which is kind of cool. The other thing that he added on this, which I'm really glad he did, is back gussets, right? So you have full range of movement. And the fact that I could sit here very comfortably in a leather jacket is saying something, because typically the way that I'm built, I'm short, I'm stocky. When I put something on that seems to fit and actually doesn't come down past my hand. Another pet peeve of mine is when somebody wears a jacket and it's coming down here and it's hitting them in the palm. I don't know how they stand it. I'm usually very restricted, but with this, I am not. As you can see, I mean, basically fits perfect. And he did just a great job with this rough out steer hide. I'm over the moon about it. He really nailed it. And now, again, this is one of those things with collaborations, right? We've been working on this for about a year. And I always feel a little bit silly putting my name on something that I really didn't have a hand in building physically. And I know that, you know, there's two sides to it, right? I mean, of course, you know, somebody has to have the idea and the inspiration and sort of guide the process while the other person is making it. But like, really, like, it's my name should be a footnote, because Greg is he's such a master at what he does now. And I'm humbled by being able to even put my name on the thing. I got to tell you. I always feel a little bit weird when I didn't actually have like a hand in physically making them. And in a case like this, I saw one. It was actually a Type 3 at Standard and Strange when I went there with Albert. And you can actually see that video. Like, there's one that's a very similar color and stuff. And I saw it on the rack and I was like, whoa, that is good looking. I tried it on. It was by that brand, why something, I can't remember what it is now, but some Japanese brand. And it was not going to fit me. Just like I said, I mean, the arms, I couldn't go like that. They were way too narrow. Definitely couldn't pass the hug test. And if I bought that thing, man, at that point, it would have been like, great, now I have a jacket I can only wear standing up with my arms at my side. And what fun is that? So that was what started it. And of course, I didn't want a Type 3. I liked the Type 2. And so we went back and forth with the details and all that stuff. And that's how it started. But he was the one who knocked it out of the park. And I just can't wait to show this to you guys. It's going to be limited to 50 units. And the video for this is going to be coming out very soon. So when it's actually available, which I'm kind of waiting on Greg to give me the green light to release a date that he's ready to start accepting these orders. When it becomes available, I feel like they're going to sell it pretty quickly. Plus, he's also priced it very competitively. It's 650 pounds, which I believe is like just over $800 or something like that for, you know, a jacket that, in my opinion, should cost like $1,200. But hey, man, he sets the prices, and I let him do his thing, and I think it's great for everybody involved. The other thing that he has that I think is really cool is he actually has belts now, and the belts are solid. They are. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the thing that really impressed me was actually the packaging. Look at this box. I am a sucker for a great box, and I have several over there that for some reason I just can't get rid of. This is a nice sturdy box. It has that like gold foil. You can see that there. His logo on there. When you open it up, this is one of those kind that you kind of have to like do this because there's no way to really open it up. So you have to wait for gravity to sort of pop the top off of the thing. But then he nests the belt inside with, you know, some of this like paper with one of his cards. And it's just presented in a way that you would think like Hermes or some really high-end luxury brand would be. But boy, oh boy, did he do a nice job. And this is the kind of thing that I think that's really going to set Greg apart from, you know, those brands that will send you a leather belt in like a polyester bag or something. You get something like that in the mail and you really know you have something special. So I love what he's doing. I've always been a fan of Greg, and I always will be there to kind of help along because I believe in his cause. I think he's a fantastic artist and maker, and I'm proud to see him grow. All right, let's get to the new releases, and there are some this week that are pretty interesting. The first one that I wanted to talk about, though, so Carhartt, you know, I always keep an eye on what they're doing, and it's interesting because they'll do a lot of things which shift things out and churn their product. So unfortunately, that means if you liked something, sometimes it'll cycle out. For example, that Gore-Tex jacket that they offered for a while, in my opinion, that was the best deal going for Gore-Tex. And evidently, it didn't sell very well because you can't even get it anymore. But I love that jacket. I've been wearing it all week. It's been rainy here, and it's been spectacular. Unfortunately, they don't make it anymore. So I always kind of keep an eye out for stuff that might be great because it might not be there very much longer. And so this is not a product. So it's actually a colorway. But they haven't done a colorway like this in the past, and I thought it was really good looking. It reminded me a lot of the Ironheart overdyed stuff, but enough sizzle. Let's get to the steak here. This is the loose fit heavyweight flannel long sleeve plaid shirt. Carhartt with the names, man. Come on, just call it the heavyweight flannel. That's it. You know, you don't have to tell me the fit, the type, the sleeve length, and then the color all in the title of the product. That's crazy. Just give it like a quick thing. Call it like the David. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, if you look at this colorway, it is, what is it? Mocha. This is a special color they just came out with. And it looks a lot like the overdyed Ironheart that they came out with a while ago. Now, I wanted one of those, but I'm not going to spend $360 or whatever they cost. This, on the other hand, is $49. It's, you know, so it's a fraction of the cost with a lot of that same sort of subtle shadow plaid look. And I actually do have a heavyweight flannel from Carhartt. They fit a little big, so in my opinion, it's worth sizing down because they fit very boxy, very big. They're workwear after all, but cozy, absolutely. And I think they did a great job with this colorway. I really hope that they do more with this type of adventurous color palette. Even the buttons are sort of contrasting, you know, they're a little bit different. They could have gone with black or gray, but they actually went with like a brown or like a rusty brown. It looks great. And I don't know, man, I just think they did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to getting one of these myself for $50. That's not a bad deal. So I think I'm going to pick up one of these. So don't grab my size because, you know, I want it. Although they usually have the stock to support a pretty big order. So these are available in all sizes right now. They have several other colors there, but Mocha is the one that I was looking at. And it's subtle. It's just good looking. This is more of an announcement than a product. Grant Stone now carries more than 50 different types of shoes and boots in their wide sizes. So for those of us who have Hobbit feet like me, and you're an E-width or a double E-width or whatever, Grant Stone has you covered, and it sounds like they're building it up. So you can get those in all of their shoes, their boots, and their loafers. Devium is a brand that I originally first bought back in last year's flannel. That was really, I'm sorry, that was a really complex sentence. I first bought let me see, how would I say that? I bought my first Devium product last year for the flannel guide, see? And I was actually very impressed with it. It was their Mocha flannel, the color density, actually just the colors alone, but also the build quality and something about that fabric had sort of a gauzy feel to it, which I really liked. I was very impressed. And since then I've been like, you know what? Devium's got to be on my radar because they're all, you know, they're made in the USA, cool stuff. They are priced pretty high, but I will say that it does seem like you get what you pay for with them. So I saw this and I was like, that's pretty sharp, and it's limited edition. That's why I want to tell you about it now. So this is their Desperado Summer 24 collection, Chapman limited edition corduroy jacket. And I don't think corduroy gets enough love. I really don't. It's such a great fabric. Originally, it was used as workwear, but it has this depth to it where it almost looks a little bit like velvet, probably because of the wales, right? And so a wale, if you don't know, is more or less how thick those lines, you know, corduroy, everybody knows what it looks like, almost like you ran a comb down some sand or something. How thick those are, it's called the wales or the wale count. And so, you know, that's what you get. And I think that this color with that fabric, it just looks beautiful. I have two flannel shirts, or two corduroy shirts, not from Devium, and actually they're from a brand that's not even like that great, but I wear them all the time because I really like that fabric, and again, it just looks really good. It looks like they also have it in tan, but the tan is like, it's okay. The one that really pops to me is this blue. I think that blue looks just dynamite. So cerulean blue, god damn it. $209 get you this, which again is not cheap. It looks like they've also offered it in like a crimson before. You know, $209 is not, but it is also a jacket, right? So to me, it looks more like a shirt jack. It's like a heavyweight shirt. Let's see, does it have pockets? Sometimes that's the way I decide is like, okay, if it doesn't have pockets, it's a shirt. I don't see pockets on this. To me, that's a shirt or a shirt jack, which is totally fine. And I think a lot of people actually want that. They want something that's a little bit lighter and, you know, and that's actually good. It could also be great for layering, but I saw this and I was like, woo-hoo-hoo. And it looks like they have a $25 off coupon here too. So you could get this thing for under 200 bucks. I think that's a solid deal. Now, here's another one where I saw it originally and I was like, nah, but then I found a particular colorway and I was like, ooh, okay. Now, the company that makes this is Seager Company, and this is the Amarillo short sleeve shirt in white. Now, they actually also have it in another color, which they call just Western Stripes. That's a bit loud for me. I also don't really care for the colors they use there. It's too much. To me, it looks like and also the way it's cut. I mean, it looks like a magic eye painting. It's just not my thing. However, if you actually look at it in white, it looks way better. And I'm not a short sleeve shirt button up kind of guy. I have a couple because when it's really hot, you almost have no other choice. But this actually looks really good. And in this colorway, which is more or less just black and white, but varying thicknesses of stripes, I think it looks very nice. Also, what they've done that's interesting is the way that the stripes are, they actually vary in thickness along. So it almost looks like little ants marching or something. And it's that depth that I think makes it look really nice. So from far away, it almost looks like gray stripes, but when you get up close, you can see the detail and what's going on there. So this looks really good. I got to tell you, I totally wrote this off when I saw it originally. And then I clicked on it and said, what the hell? Let's see what it's all about. And I was like, that's not bad. It's also 75 bucks. So it's a cool looking shirt for under $100. Looks like everything is available except for XXL. But I don't know. I think this looks really, really nice. Lightweight, 100% breathable cotton, made in India. I don't know. I think that could look dynamite. Now, I chose this one because it actually reminds me a little bit of that shirt. And this is the Studio d'Artisan Rain jeans. They're 14-ounce Kasuri tapered jeans. And they have this look that... Now, I know they're going for rain here, and I get that. But the first thing I thought of was actually that code in the Matrix, with like the falling letters that would leave the trail. And that's what they look like. Now, if you put these in green, then it would be like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it's a cool variation on a pinstripe. I think that they are pretty loud. I think once, of course, you wash them a little bit and tone down that white as the indigo kind of blends together and stuff, they might not look too bright, and then it'll probably be better. But I like these a lot. It also looks interesting, like the fit of these are a little bit higher on the waist. Looks like that back yoke is pretty big or tall or whatever you want to say. So I think that sizing is going to be especially important with these. And, make sure you know your sizes if you decide to get these, because truthfully, I have never seen anything quite like this. It's an interesting look, and I love Studio d'Artisan because I've mentioned them many times on this channel because they are not afraid to take a risk. And this is a perfect example. Another brand that I mention a lot is Kato brand, and I've heard varying things. So I really like them. Of course, again, their tops don't tend to fit me very well. I have tried the Axe flannel. I've tried a couple other ones, and their peacoat, and it's just not meant for me. Again, if you're a stocky guy or you have any kind of bulk in your upper body, Kato brand's probably not going to fit you. But if you're thinner or slimmer, then these might be better. So knowing that, I think helps, because if you're a bigger guy, well, come on. I mean, we got Indigo Farah, right? Their Fargo shirt is a perfect example of something like that. If you are in the Ironheart kind of sphere, well, then their work shirts fit a little bit bigger than their Western shirts. And knowing those little things help guide you along the way. And for me, especially when I see a colorway that's just like, oh man, that's dynamite, at least I know what immediately will work and what doesn't. Sometimes brands will change their fit. Perfect example of that is the Right Stuff. They actually went to a slightly bigger fit, which I think is good, because again, their original fit was very slim, and I have one of each. And the differences are very subtle, but noticeable. So I'm glad that they did that. But anyway, Kato brand, they have this shirt, which originally I said, okay, wow, that's a red ombre. We have seen this shirt many, many times. What's the big deal? Well, the difference is, so this is the Camp Heavy Plaid in Mountain Red. It's $258. Is when you look at it, it's actually a herringbone pattern, which makes up that ombre. So yeah, it looks really cool. It looks like your typical lumberjack shirt, right? I probably have a dozen of these. And but when you get closer, you see that herringbone pattern, and it's like, wow, again, from far away, looks like a typical plaid shirt or, flannel shirt. When you get closer up, though, that herringbone pattern sticks out to you, and it's a little bit special. And it looks like they have cat's eye buttons on this as well. So, you have some nice stuff going on there. And if you're lucky enough to fit their their patterns, then, you know, good for you. I'm jealous, but beautiful. Made in USA, of course, just like all Kato stuff. I think all Kato stuff, if I'm not mistaken, everything I've ever tried from them or seen has been made in the USA. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they do have some things that are made in Japan. I don't know that for sure. But anyway, this looks great, and it's available in everything except for XXL. Now, there are only a few times where my jaw will hit the floor, not literally, but yesterday this happened where I saw something and I was like, oh, wow, that is amazing. And it was Gabbard from Kreosote who put up his most recent Revolver boots for a client of his, and he did them in this cobalt blue, which, I mean, it probably looks black unless you're really shining a light on it, but it has that sort of candy color to it where it's like, you know, once it's in the sun, it'll be like a blue, like a vibrant blue. Oh my God. I'll put up this one picture I see of these, but goodness, he did a great job. Now, he hand dyes all of his leathers. So, you know, he gets these things in, I think in natural or whatever, and then he will actually apply the dye finish to it. And it's just like, wow, did he do a nice job? The thing that really sets these off, though, I think that if he had done them with edge treatment on the sole that was black, it would be cool, but not as cool. But he did it with this bright, you know, almost natural tan, right? So it's like, I'm not sure if he did any dyeing at all, or if the dyeing is actually in the stacks of leather in the heel there, but it sets it off. It looks spectacular. And of course, his work is just, you know, among the best out there. And wow, these were just amazing. Now, again, I don't even see these listed on his website, but you know, his wait list is years long and they're probably like $2,000. So, you know, I look at them and I go, woo, those are nice, but, you know, I won't have any in my collection. That's just, you know, that's a lot, but man, oh man, this guy is a master. Somebody is getting some really world-class boots here. Now, finally, Nix and Heat Straps actually collaborated on a very similar jacket to the one that you see I'm wearing here with their Ranchman, I think this is called. I don't know, their pop-up just came up, which drives me crazy. Yeah, so it's the Ranchman. And this is $750, so it's a little bit less expensive than this Field Leathers collaboration by about, I think, like, what, $60 or so. But it's also a different type of jacket, you know, whereas this is obviously a Type 2 Levi's inspired jacket. This, I would say, is much more workwear type of jacket. Number one, you have those brass embossed snaps, which now Heat Straps has, which I think is really cool. Actually, let me make sure. I think that they're using their snaps on these, right? I mean, I would hope they are. It's hard to tell. Now, it's a different look entirely, right? I mean, you have the black corduroy collar. They have some corduroy lining inside the cuffs there as well. There is no chest pocket, doesn't look like. It looks like there's only just 2 hand pockets, which is cool. You know, it's a cool looking jacket. It looks a lot like a welding coat to me because, again, it is so simple. But, yeah, it looks really nice. Now, the thing that I say, if you were to put that next to this and then look at the two, again, they're very different uses, even though they're made out of very similar materials. This is European chrome tanned steer hide. This is made in Nix 1964 rough out. And, you know, they're both very beautiful leathers. There's no doubt about that. I think that one definitely, again, leans much more workwear. Like you could actually put this on and use it for workwear if you wanted to. And then this one is certainly more style. You know, I wouldn't wear this to work. There's no reason to. But again, it depends on what aesthetic you like. This has, you know, the gunmetal buttons to it, which I think are a little more subtle. The Heat Straps in Nix one has their bright brass buttons, which are cool, and I like them. But again, they're a little bit more flashy, and with that contrasting collar, there's a lot going on there, and it's a look. I think it's beautiful. I think they did a nice job on it. Those pockets are very interesting. They, you know, I know pockets like this, and I always felt like there was they almost like needed a little bit more room in the top of them. They remind me sort of the Ship John pockets. They have a picture of a guy. He's got his hands in them, and it looks okay. I guess for me, it's like, I never liked when I have to like really bring my arm way back to put my hand in my pocket. Matter of fact, that was one of the issues with the Filson Jack shirt. They screw that up sometimes, right? So they have shirt Jack, Jack shirt, and like it almost looks like they're interchangeable. But for a while there, they had this shirt. It was a Jack shirt because it was a Jack at first, It was nowhere even close to a shirt because it's that same Mackinac Cruiser, like 24 ounce, right? And they sewed the hand warmer pockets into the side seam. So literally, to get your hands into the pockets, you had to reach all the way back to the side seam. And maybe it's just me getting old. Maybe it's just me being cranky, but I don't like that very much. I like a pocket that's right where you think it's going to be. And to me, that makes a big difference. I know it's a small thing, and I know I'm probably being, overly nitpicky, but that's something that I like. It looks like these are kind of high and small, but I don't know. I haven't tried it out myself. But then again, they also could be really meant for function, because what that does is it actually creates a nice sort of bucket, right, within there, in which you could put tools or whatever. Now, yeah, you could work in it, right? And that's always the caveat, is like, what's real workwear? Well, it's something that you could work in. Yeah, okay, well, you could work in a tuxedo. And if you work at a funeral home, that probably is your work uniform, right? Actually, probably not a tuxedo, but you get the point. But true workwear, in my personal definition, and you don't have to adopt this at all or think that it's right, but in my opinion, true workwear puts function and protection first, warmth, right? So it's function, and then looks are second. Now, the looks can be great, and sometimes those two things, they balance out, right? The Detroit jacket is a perfect example of that. People buy it now. It was originally intended for workwear and nothing else, and it was called the zipper jacket because it was the first one they had with a zipper on it, and it was a simple jacket that was supposed to sit above your tool belt. But now people have adopted it, and they will wear it for style. So sometimes the two things flip-flop, even though the jackets stay the same, which is kind of cool. But in my opinion, when you have a brand like Dickies, Ariat, Carhartt, Duluth Trading Company, they're putting up products which will show, the first thing that they will show is the features, right? It's warm, it's rain resistant, it's stain resistant, it's snag resistant, whatever. Whereas if it's on the other way, more for style, the first thing that they'll put up is maybe something about the fit, something about the fabric, something about the style or whatever. And that's okay, but I think that when it comes to a product like this from think about Nix, right? They originally made wildland firefighting and work boots. And then they started saying, you know what? This lifestyle kind of thing is actually showing some promise. So they started leaning more to the lifestyle boot thing, which is totally fine. But it's again, it starts to kind of mix things up. And I know as a consumer, if you're not heavy into this stuff, you go to a brand expecting it to be a certain thing. Like I'm going to buy a boot from this company and it's going to be a great work boot, but that's not always the case, because it actually has style as the first priority. With something like this, with heat straps, you think you could work in it, and I guarantee some people will, but I think that most people who buy this are probably going to be buying it because of the way it looks, and they like that rugged sort of aesthetic, and maybe they really like that Nix rough out leather. It's a beautiful leather. And that's the reason they're going to buy it. But I think sometimes with things like that, I see it in the comments a lot. If I were to do a video on that, the first thing somebody would say is that no working man can afford this and they won't be working in it and whatever. And that is true, because again, if you're getting paid like $15-16 an hour, you're not going to spend $750 on a jacket. You're going to spend $80 and get yourself something that will function, and who cares how it looks, right? And so that's, I think, the perspective. I'm rambling a bit here. I'm sorry about that. Well, we're seeing the sun set on the summer months, and I don't know about you guys. I've had a wonderful summer. It has been very illuminating as far as the types of content that I've been putting out, and not only the types of content, but sort of my strategy going forward. And it's one where I'm not so concerned about releasing a video every Sunday or whatever it is. That was that was kind of what I did for a long time. Now it's more about, how can I make this video the absolute best it can possibly be? And even if it doesn't pop off immediately, eventually somebody will get value out of it. And that actually happened to me this week, where a video that I did that I thought was going to do well, but it didn't. It was called Things I Wish That Somebody Had Told Me in the Trades, or stuff I wish I had known, or whatever, and it was all about like sort of me reflecting back on my 20 years in the trades and thinking about the stuff that I wish somebody had told me. And that video did not do well until it did, which was like 7 days ago. And then the graph is ridiculous. It got like 45,000 views in a day. It was unbelievable. And I guess what had happened is that somebody had promoted it or recommended it, and it somehow wound up on the front page of Reddit, and a lot of different people are watching it, which is really cool because I'm getting a ton of comments in there from tradesmen who are adding their own stories or whatever, and adding to that base of knowledge. So I love that idea, and sometimes that happens. But going forward, it's, again, more on quality than quantity and upload schedule, which had previously been the way YouTube would sort of value your videos. But anyway, thank you for being here with me through the whole process. I'm heading to Montana, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. If everything goes well, I will be doing one of these from Montana, and then I'll be putting it out. But let's go easy there, all right? I mean, I'm also on vacation, but if I can chip away and we could do one of these from a different state, that'd be a lot of fun. And so maybe I'll see you then. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. We're gonna go to the Patreon only half of this thing now. And I'll talk to you guys later.